Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs down a prototype of Atlantis Rising, which is a cooperative worker placement game where 1 to 6 players are trying to save the citizens of Atlantis before the island meets its watery doom. And the way it works is, every round, first thing we're going to do is everybody cooperatively deploys their Atlanteans out to the starfish-shaped island of Atlantis to do various and sundry actions. Now, I'm doing a solo run-through today, which is interesting because that means I've got my leader and I've got my followers, and depending on how many players are playing, I have fewer and fewer followers because we have to spread our people all around. But in the solo game, I also get the hologram character, which also is used in the 2-player game, and today is played by one of my wife Jen's lovely little glass meeples, little hologram there. And only in the solo game, you're joined by the automaton, a little silvery robot who is going to help me as well. So I'm all by myself instead of playing with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 other players going all over the place, but I've got some backup. And one other benefit, at the beginning of every round, here we start on the first round, I get an extra mystic energy. That only happens in a solo game, that we're getting some more stuff for free. Normally, you have to spend time in the central city to collect mystic energy. All right, so let's get going. Placing Atlanteans. Now, in this game, I am playing as the champion. The game comes with tons of different cards. The Mystic, the Explorer, the Scholar, the Astrologer, all kinds of different characters with special abilities. My special ability is that when I send the champion out to the far end of any of the peninsulas to do whatever he's going to do, coming over here to harvest gold, coming over here to try to recruit more followers to the cause, coming over here to go to the library to try and get special knowledge that'll save us, even if the zone he gets deployed to sinks, gets flooded, which is Atlantis is not rising, Atlantis is sinking in this game, the champion still gets to do what he set out. So he is awesome. He is always out there on the edge, taking risks because he'll get to do whatever he needs to do. And what do I want him to do? You know what? I think I want to try and get some Atlantium built very, very quickly because I need Atlantium to build all these different pieces of the power core. The way we win is, before we run out of time, before the whole island sinks, we have to get all 9 of these things built. And once all 9 of those are built, we can build the power core that makes a teleporter that saves everybody because of our Atlantean technology. And a lot of these things need the Atlantium. I'm going to have him come all the way out here to the peninsula, which could drown anybody else, but he's a champion. And I'm going to have him try to convert some iron ore into Atlantium. The further out you go, the better the results. If he succeeds, he can turn 1 ore into 3 Atlantium. If he came up here, it's 1 into 2. All the way up here, where it's very, very safe, you can only convert 1 into 1. And that's true for all of these different peninsulas. You want to be out as far as you can, but the farther you are, the more likely you are to get sunk. So anyway, so I'm sending him there. And that means I'm going to have to send some people over here to actually get me some ore. And again, if I send somebody all the way out here, I roll a die. And if I get a 2 or better, I'll get some ore. But this guy's living dangerously. I think I want to come a little bit in. Let's come over here because I get ore on a 3-to-1. And you can see there are 2 spaces I could send somebody. There's only 1 space out here on the edge. So I'm going to send this guy. You know what? No, actually, I'm going to send him over here where he needs a 4. And I'm actually going to send 2 guys, because I can send up to 3 guys here. I'm going to have them joined by the automaton, who again is a special meeple that only exists in the solo game. The automaton does not roll dice to do harvest like everybody else. Instead, he adds +2 to everybody else's dice roll. So I've got a +2 and a +2 on them, so I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to get some ore that this guy, my champion, will be able to convert. But I've still got some more people. Oh, before I started deploying, I should have looked at the hologram deck to find out what hologram I have. You draw the top 2. I've got the priestess or the emissary. The hologram will take on one of these powers this round. And these are the powers that players normally have, like the way I've got a champion power. See, the emissary lets me send more people into a crowded zone than would normally be able to go. The priestess lets me re-roll. I think we're going to priestess it up. All right, so the other one just goes to the bottom of the deck. This round, the hologram has the power of the priestess, and an Atlantean on a tile with the hologram can re-roll a single failed production. I'm going to have the priestess, this is dangerous, come out here to the end of the crystal generating peninsula. This is the toughest thing to harvest. Even at its easiest, you need to roll a 4 or better to get a crystal. I mean, I'd like to send the automaton out here to join her, because then you only need a 2 or better, but there's only space for 1 person. But hey, the priestess can re-roll. So hopefully that'll work out, and this guy will help these 2, and I've still got 2 more. I could send both of them over here to the far edge where they might get dunked, but if they succeed, then I'll be able to recruit more followers, so I'll have more workers in a future round. And you always have to send exactly two to a zone over here. That's the only place where that happens. Or I could send one of them over here to the library to draw and keep 2 cards. But again, he's in danger. If I send him off here where he's safer, I draw 2, but I only keep 1. Or I draw 2, but keep 1, or, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, what the heck? Let's live dangerously. Let's go right up to the edge. And this other guy, he's going to be totally safe. I'm just going to deploy him to the center of the island. He doesn't roll dice. He is just going to generate 1 more mystic energy, which has a whole bunch of different uses. I could send both of them, because if I sent 2 guys here to the center, I'd get 2 more mystic energy. 4 mystic energy lets me deploy a portal, which will prevent 1 peninsula from drowning or from flooding in a given round. So that's actually really cool. But no. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna try and get some library. I'm not recruiting anybody. I'm gonna try and make some Atlantium. Now, I'm done deploying. That's the first thing that happens. And this is the really interactive part where everybody's talking if you play with lots of players, trying to figure out what they should do. Everybody has different special powers, and everybody's trying to work together. Some people will generate something, somebody else will do things. It's interesting. With more players, you have to bear in mind, you don't have a common pool of resources. So it's tricky for players to actually share resources with each other. But I'm playing solo, so everything just goes into the one character. I've done it. Now we have to suffer misfortunes. Now, this is a big determiner of how difficult the game is, because you can put more and more calm seas in here to make the game a little bit easier. I'm playing on medium difficulty, and in a solo game, I have to draw 4. 4 misfortunes will befall us. Normally, it's 1 per player, but since I'm playing solo, it's 4 I've got to draw, because I've got my 2 buddy helpers. In a 2-player game, each player has to draw 2 as well, so you'd have 4 happening every round. But at higher player counts, it's only 1 per player. But anyway, so let's start suffering misfortune. First of all, hopelessness. Each controller discards a library card. No big. We don't have any. If we were playing in an easier level, we would have started with some, and then people would have to start discarding cards. No big deal. No misfortune. Number 2. That's what we like to see, folks. Calm seas. Nothing happens. Easy peasy. The forge. But that is perfect. The outer edge of the forge floods, and my champion says, I am brave, I will still continue to work. Anybody else would have been sent home ready to work next turn after they dried off, but the champion will stay and do his work anyway. And then we got a 4th one, the hills. Okay, well, I didn't send anybody over here to get any gold, so no big deal. But you can see the best place to harvest gold, where you only need to roll a 3, is gone. Now we have to roll 4s to get gold. And we need gold and Atlantium and crystals for all the various things. Okay, so that was 4. That was not very misfortunate. We came out pretty lucky. Now we can take the actions. We can do it in any order we want. And again, even when you're playing with multiple players, players can do them in any order. And it's important. First, I'll have this guy activate because he gives me more mystic energy, and I can use that mystic energy, if nothing else, to help supplement the rolls of other people. Let's go on ahead and let's do this big one here. Now, if there were multiple players here, everybody would roll their dice independently because everybody harvests independently. But here, I've got 2 guys, and each of them gets +2 on the roll. And let's see, I got a 6 and a 1. So that 6 was a total success because I needed a 4. The 1 was a total unsuccess. For every mystic energy I sent, I could add 1. So I could add 2, 3, 4 to get a second, but I don't want to throw all my mystic energy away. I got 1. That's what I needed. So these guys are all done successfully. I would have liked to have got 2, but hey, 1 is better than nothing. Now I'm going to use that one. My champion, bravely, even though he's drowning over here, will do the work to turn 1 into 3 Atlantium. Nice. And meanwhile, this guy over here, hey, he didn't flood. He just had plenty of time in the library. He's going to draw 2 and keep 2. The best return. I've got Mystic Conversion. I can play this whenever I want. And I've got an artifact. This just sticks around once per round. When you would draw a misfortune, instead reveal 2, choose 1 to draw, and discard the other without effect. Once per round. Oh, that's really going to let us control this misfortune deck. And this can get played whenever I want. Now, there's a hand size limit of only 4. So my hand size, this is an artifact, even though it's played, it counts towards my hand size. I could have 2 more in my hand before I'd have to start getting rid of them. So this one is convert 1 or 2 of my mystic energy into whatever I need to build stuff. Nice. Okay. So he was done. And okay, last but not least, the holographic priestess, she didn't get drowned. She has 2 chances. So, and she needs to get a 4. Show me a 4. And boom, she got it right off the chart. She did not need to reroll. I didn't need to spend the arcane energy. We got a crystal. Hooray! That was a fantastic first round. And now, at the end of the round, we must endure the wrath of the gods. The gods here represented by another one of my wife's little, this little googly-eyed witwat, who is going to move up. And, right, so... Now, we are having to deal with the wrath of the gods, which is to say, for next round, one peninsula of our choosing is going to flood. We can't stop it. In the first round, 0 things flooded. In the second round, 1 thing is going to automatically flood every turn. But hey, on the flip side, and again, this only happens in solo, I've got some more mystic energy. I've got 4 of these now, which means, like I said, I could deploy one of these portals that will protect something, could protect people who are out working on the outer edge. If I get 1 more, though, 5 mystic energy can allow me to unflip a tile and get access to it again and push back the ocean itself. These Atlanteans were so powerful. Alrighty, so that was the first round. The wrath of the gods has increased. And the interesting thing is, the higher the wrath of the gods increases, the more stuff is automatically flipping, no matter what the Misfortune deck says. The higher the wrath of the gods, the more likely we are to get joined by people because we're supposed to add our roll plus the wrath of the gods and then hit a target number. So people get more and more scared as the wrath increases. But that was the first round. At the end of the round, the priestess we use also goes to the bottom of the deck. We start the next round. We find out what the hologram is. And again, you use the hologram in a solo or a 2-player game. It could be the Seafarer, which is nice. You can go to a sunken place and still do work. Or the Artificer, which one is that? Oh, this is one that basically gives you access to one of the artifacts you're trying to build before you built it. That can be a huge deal. But if we want to have an easier time going out and getting some gold, it might be good to have the Seafarer go out to the sunken place because you only need to roll 3. But I mean, getting access, I mean, normally you have to spend a lot of time building these things before you get access to these new worker placement spots. Having an Artificer right off the bat, that's pretty nice. I gotta imagine. All right, so we'll put the other one at the bottom of the deck. We know what our hologram is. So I'm gonna have to send the hologram character to one of these, and I will have access to the Soul Terraformer this round, or the Essence Multiplier, or the Cognitive Transcriber. Every time you play, you're gonna get a different combination of these cool bonus artifacts to build. And the Artificer, and if you have a player who's the Artificer, you get access to them all the time. So maybe this is the round where I want to just use the Mystic Siphon because now I'd be able to send workers here to get more Mystic energy. Normally I have to send them here and I only get 1 at a time, but here I could send them and get 2, so I could save up for big moves later. Right, so I know what my Artificer is doing. I'm going to have him be joined by a couple of guys, so that's going to be pretty cool. I've still got to decide where my champion goes. And again, if I want some more cards, hey, I know he's safe out there by himself, and we got our +2 automaton. What are we going to try and do? Well, you know what else I'd like to do? I'd like to send one of these workers over here to the power core, because you can send 1 or more workers to activate. This is the only space where any number of workers could go, which only matters in higher player counts. You could have multiple players combine their resources all together on a single space to work, because I've got 2 adamantium, I've got 1 crystal. I can send this guy out here to build the Auger Turbine, which once it's built means I immediately get to draw the top 3 Misfortune cards, get rid of any, and then so in the round I build this, we'll have total control. But we want to do that when we're in big trouble. Maybe I'll build something else. I don't know. But I could definitely start building stuff, and then I could put the... But I want this +2, the automaton, to work with. Do I want to get some more? I mean, heck, maybe I should get a bunch of gold. I send 2 guys out here with the automaton. It might as well come up here because it's a 5 versus a 5. And so both these guys get a +2. I could start collecting gold. Or hey, I could try to collect more, but we need to get 6s. But there's +2, but I've got all of these. And you can see how there's so much that goes into the worker placement where you're trying to figure out how everybody works together. And it gets so much more interesting with lots of players around the table, all pushing their ideas for how they should move forward as we try to save the systems of Atlantis. And that, folks, is the rundown. I gotta say, this is a reprint and update of an older kind of modern classic co-op, which is very, very well loved, and I can see why, because it's always been good, but now it's super good, especially the solo and 2-player rules. I have had a lot of fun playing this as a solo game, and Jen and I enjoyed it as a 2-player game as well. Now, that said, you gotta know going in, this is a game with a ton of dice rolling. This puts Stone Age to shame, kind of a contemporary game that came out around the same time. But if you like Lots of roll to resolve, all that drama of the dice and the constant pressure as things are sinking, but you're getting all the cool special powers and you're coming up with really neat plans with all kinds of... It's just a very, very sharp, fun, well-designed game. It's earned its classic status. It's better than ever, especially with the gorgeous art of Vincent Dutrait. It's super sharp, and it's on Kickstarter for a few more days. That is Atlantis Rising, and that's the rundown, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.